It was a squat cinderblock building at the edge of town. Brady's Auto Repair, cracked neon sign, coffee cans full of rusty bolts, and an old man named Walt Brady under every hood. If your truck rattled, Walt fixed it. If your brakes squealed, Walt fixed them. If you were late on payment, he'd still fix it. Pay me when you can, kid. People called him Old Walt. Grease under his nails, faded overalls, same black ball cap every day. Always polite, never talked politics, never talked about himself, and never, ever talked about the war. Some kids in town whispered, "I heard he was a mechanic in Korea." No, Vietnam. My dad said Walt never left the county. Walt never corrected them. He'd just chuckle, wave them off, and light another cigarette out back by the oil drums. Every morning at 6:30, Walt opened the shop. Coffee, radio, humming low, wrench in hand before most folks' alarms went off. At night, he'd sweep the bay floor, flip the sign to closed, and walk home 3 blocks to a small clapboard house with a front porch nobody ever sat on. When Veterans Day rolled around, Walt never joined the parade, never pinned on medals. If anyone thanked him for his service, he'd nod once and say, "Appreciate you, kid," and that was that. One Tuesday in late March, Walt didn't open the shop. A neighbor found him still in his chair by the window, TV flickering on a half-full coffee cup. Just gone. Quiet. Like he always was. The town put together a simple funeral. Closed casket. No fancy flowers. Just a few old customers, a couple of local kids who'd worked for him summers. The only family anyone knew was a middle-aged man named Bobby. Said he was Walt's nephew. No one knew more than that. It should have been quick. A prayer. A few polite words about hard work, kindness, honest grease under honest nails. But then Bobby stepped up, cleared his throat, and pulled a folded paper from his jacket. He glanced at the small gathering, the neighbor, the mailman, the kid who worked part-time at the shop. "Most of you knew him as Walt the Mechanic," Bobby said. "That's all he ever wanted you to know." A breeze rustled the flags by the gravesite. Bobby's voice steadied. But in 1971, in a jungle none of you can find on a map, he was Staff Sergeant Walter Brady, Army Special Forces, Forward Recon. Murmurs. He led 12 men out of an ambush, wounded twice, refused medevac. He never told you because he didn't need to. Bobby pulled something from his pocket. A small battered medal. A silver star. "He didn't keep this on a shelf," Bobby said. "He kept it in a coffee can above the shop sink." People shifted. The mailman took off his hat. He never wanted parades. He didn't want thanks. He wanted engines to run and kids to get home safe. That was enough. Bobby's voice caught for half a second. He looked out at the rows of headstones, then back. "So, if you drove a car he fixed, if he ever waved you off when you came up short, you owe him more than cash. You owe him respect." When Bobby stepped back, nobody spoke. Nobody coughed. One by one, people stood. Not because they were told, but because they knew. A small line formed by the casket, a hand on the wood, a soft, "Thank you, Walt." No bugles, no folded flag, just whined through the oaks, the sound of boots on soft grass. Back at the garage, Bobby left the neon sign dark for a week. Then, on the door, he taped a photo. Walt, young, camo sleeves rolled, mud on his boots, grin under a steel helmet. Next to it, he taped the silver star. A cardboard sign read, "We fix trucks here. He fixed people." And in that cracked old building, folks remembered that the quietest man in town carried a story bigger than any engine he ever fixed.